Hey there, Scott Paradis here. Haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. I've been recovering from a cold, so if you hear that in my voice today, I apologize. What I wanted to talk to you about today is this documentary film that I went to see called Finding the Money. It's about modern monetary theory. It just was released in May. The main proponent or advocate of modern monetary theory happens to be a professor by the name of Stephanie Kelton. She's at Stony Brook University in New York, but the primary focus of the band of brothers promoting monetary theory happens to be at the University of Missouri in Kansas City. This documentary film is turning the idea of what we understand about money on its head. And it's funny, Professor Kelton talks about when you bring a new idea to the public, at first people ignore you. And you understand this. They ignore the new ideas, especially when it's counter to conventional wisdom. Then they ridicule you. They make some jokes at your behest, and it's this idea of all this idea is gaining some traction, but we got to kill it. So let's ridicule it. Well, if it gains more traction, then they got to attack it. They're in the attack phase right now. They're trying to kill this idea because it upsets the apple cart of the power structure as it is right now. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the highlights that I took, some of the insights that I took away from that film, but also some of the challenges that I think need to be further addressed. So let's just get going on this. So this idea of modern monetary theory turns traditional, I say traditional, it's neoclassical economics on its head a little bit. And it really is this understanding, this fundamental understanding of money that most people don't have a clue about. We all are operating worldwide, the United States and worldwide, we are operating on a fiat money standard. What that means is it's money by declaration. It's not real. It's just something that we've declared to be money, and we're all agreed to use it as money. So in our case, we're using dollars. In Europe, they're using euros. In Japan, they're using yen. You understand what I'm saying? All of it is completely made up. None of it's real. They're all just debt instruments that we float around and we use to facilitate economic exchange. The main points that Professor Kelton and her crew are trying to make is this understanding about the fundamentals of money. First of all, money is abstract. That is, it's not real. It's completely made up. It's a social construct, a bright idea, a bright, useful idea, but just an idea nonetheless. What it means, however, is that it's allocated, created completely from nothing. It is from nothing. And it only functions because we agree that it functions. It is a unit of measure. Now, if you looked at one of my previous presentations, I talked about this drinking game. Gather with your friends at the local bar and ask them to define a dollar. Define a dollar. What is a dollar? If they come up with an abstract answer, have a drink. Pretty soon, everybody's going to be feeling pretty tipsy. The dollar is just a unit of measure. It's a unit of measure. It's not a real thing in any way. Fiat money is just made up. It's made up. It's a unit of measure. What are we measuring? Value. Now, there's a real hard concept, right? Value. How do you measure value? Well, it's subjective. But what we try to do is measure value through what we call a dollar, which is a unit of measure. The dollar, money, is an allocation tool. It's an allocation tool that we empower because we believe in money, so we're going to use money. We allocate then what? We allocate resources. Money is an allocation tool determining how resources are used in our economy, the most important of which is real human beings, their ideas, and their labor. Money is an allocation tool for what people do. They bring this out in this film, not emphasizing what I am emphasizing is human beings, human action, real people doing productive, constructive things. That is the most important of this element of an allocation tool. But in the Finding the Money, they point out that money is just a social construct and we can make it what we will. So I would say, here's the other main takeaway rather, and in addition to understanding that money is just a social construct that we can use and for any purposes that we determine to use it for, they emphasize in finding the money that money is the absolute prerogative of the sovereign. The absolute prerogative of the sovereign. In this case, what they're talking about is that there is no, if we're printing our own money, we can't run out of money. We're creating it out of nothing. It's money is created out of nothing. How can you run out of it? As much as you want, just keep adding zeros. This is the idea that we cannot go broke, that deficits don't matter. Now, they would not agree to that. If you were to listen to these folks talk about modern monetary theory, deficits do matter, but not in the way that the folks who are trying to lampoon them and take down their arguments present it. It's all smoke and mirrors, the folks who are trying to discount these ideas. These are foundational, fundamental ideas about how we use money. But I will draw an exception to that money is the absolute prerogative of the sovereign. Historically, it has been that way. It is might rules, might controls the money. In this case, these folks promoting modern monetary theory are saying the US government is the sovereign and the US government therefore controls the money. And this is what the central bank is all about. It is to say, oh, we don't have enough money, we'll create some more. Oh, we have too much money, well, then let's pull it back, dial it back a little bit. The truth is that the prerogative of the sovereign is that they're saying that our US government is the sovereign. That's just not true. That's not true. Our government is controlled by special interests. If you look at the government, it is not the will of the people. I get it, we're all complicit. We've all voted for these folks. But who controls the government is the same people who control the money. Money is created by financiers, by the banks and the banking system. Money is predominantly loaned into existence. It's created by financiers when they create a loan. That's how we create money. Who does that? The financial system does that. The banks do that. We have given an absolute monopoly to the financiers. That was by design. Once we stood the Fed up and we've given all the control of money to the financial sector. So it isn't the prerogative of the US government, it's the prerogative of the financiers. The financiers are the ones who allocate where the money goes, when, and by what means. So that would be my main point it's not that they don't understand this. I think they're trying to focus on, everyone tries to focus on, just get the government to do the right thing. It's not about getting the government to do the right thing. It's about getting the people to do the right thing. It's a completely different paradigm. What is it we're talking about? What's the main thing that they're missing is that money is a trust tool. They're making an assumption that money will just function forever. That's not true. Money is a trust tool. Over and over again throughout history, the sovereign has undermined trust in whatever is being used as money. It has happened hundreds and thousands of times. Over and over and over again. You've heard the adage, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. You give control of money to someone and they will screw it up. Absolutely. This is what's happening in the United States. Absolutely. The trust tool, our government and the politicians and the financiers are deliberately eroding trust. They're doing this deliberately. And then once the trust is gone, once it reaches a tipping point, the whole house of cards fails. The dollar will collapse. The modern monetary theorists are trying to prevent that by getting control over the money in the government. But until they actually open their aperture and understand what's really going on, they won't be able to address the problem. It's we, the people, that have to fix this problem. It's a trust tool. Money is a trust tool. All wealth is a result of people doing productive, constructive things for each other. Remember that. All wealth is the result of real people doing productive, constructive things for one another. Money is this allocation tool that we can use to help facilitate people doing productive, constructive things. Unfortunately, once people have the power, they use that power, and money is used as an allocation tool that determines ownership, that is control, and it's the financiers who do that, ultimately determining what people do. We have our hierarchy, a few people at the top, most of the masses at the bottom. Whoever controls the money controls the people. I think finding the money, modern monetary theory, is an attempt of moving in the right direction, a fundamental understanding about what money is, then this idea that we control the money. How we get that is a nuance that I think needs further explanation, but I think finding the money is worth seeing. So look it up. It's probably running locally near you. Go out, take a look. Let me know what you think. I look forward to seeing you again soon.